Today I am coming to you virtually on CFO Conversations from the home office, and I'm really excited to bring people that you know from CFO Conversations together for the first time on a virtual group discussion. I'm excited to see where we go. We know that connection now is needed more than ever, so I really wanted to come together today and have a conversation outside of the normal studio, and it's really around the impact. What has been the impact on you specifically, and your role, whether it's being CFO or whether it's being coaches of CFOs? What's been the impact to you?
Well, I mean, at the moment, I am a CFO. I'm the former CFO of Fox Sports, and I took some time out last year to have a break. And 2020 for me was all about what's the next role in the thick of a job hunt, and then COVID arrives. So just as many CFOs in business have had to do, there's been a lot of pivoting going on. There's been moments of, okay, right, how are we going to deal with this? There's been rethinking of timeframes. There's been rethinking of daily routines. There's been rethinking of how am I going to go out and find that job in this environment, and how can I operate, and how can I make this time meaningful, even if I know that for here and for right now, it's not going to look how I thought the beginning of 2020 might look. But that brings opportunity, and it just brings an opportunity to reset. And I think that's kind of how I've been experiencing it.
So how does it feel taking on a new role in COVID-19, Gemma?
Yeah, that's really, I wrote down the answer to this question just was a new role and onboarding. So I accepted the role just when there were sort of, indications that this might happen and this might roll out, but not to the extent that it has. Took it on and had a real, clear mindset of, okay, this business is smaller than the one I was in, know probably what it has to deploy. And then finding that I'm having to be a lot more calm with myself and patient, and I'm very grateful Rachel's on this call. She's spending a lot of time doing a lot of onboarding work just one-on-one with me. And so typically I would have loved to have been with the team and with the wider exec team to be able to build that rapport. Rachel's done that before, so she's sharing a lot of that insight rather than me gleaning it from one-on-ones. Yeah. So it's pretty difficult. It's probably one of the biggest challenges. Every new job is hard to take on initially, and there's a mental challenge of just being strong through that process. But right now it feels quite different, and I'm just really excited to actually be able to be physically within range of the people that I'm working with, so that I know their nuances, know how to read what's important, prioritize, and that kind of thing.
Yeah, and some people that I've been talking to have said that there's a lot more understanding and there's a lot more willingness to share online than there might have been face to face. So whilst you say it's a bigger challenge, and I can absolutely appreciate how it would be, you could probably get deeper connections faster.
The business I've just joined, Practice Ignition, they do an induction call, and there's a lot of people around the world that are responsible for portions of the business and have been working for a long time, covering a lot of areas across different time zones. And I was saying to Rachel this morning, I've jumped on a few of those calls, and it's actually been really good. I know they do that normally, but also I've used those to get a bit deeper in some of those areas of the business than maybe I would have if they were just induction calls, because I might have relied just on talking to the CEO or just the rest of the exec team.
I think there's this commonality at the moment with the narrative around COVID that gives everybody a connection point when you open a conversation. And I think that's what's been quite powerful about those conversations you're having. And we're maybe taking a bit more time to learn about the other person or the group of people that we're interacting with, because we have that shared narrative.
You're getting some new insights into the people who maybe didn't share as much at work or were not as forthcoming, and you start to actually get some glimpses into the person behind the role, which actually allows us to create those deeper connections, which hopefully moving forward will mean we can work together better. And then the other point to that, to build on what Gemma and Sarah have both said, is the flexibility piece. This is one of the biggest issues with CFOs that I'm talking to, is this juggling between homeschooling and working and, all of the other commitments that are now just piled on top of each other. It's a point of connection because everybody's experiencing it differently, and we're actually having to be a bit more compassionate about that. I think some of the people who were not maybe so compassionate before about what was happening in employees' lives, this is going to force their hand on that. as well.
I think that dropping of the facade, I think is what is the theme I'm hearing, and I know it's something I've experienced as well. I think I start every conversation pretty much at the moment with I have absolutely no cause for complaint compared to so many millions of people on earth, but I am finding it very weird on several fronts. I think, Paula, to answer your other question of how it's impacted my role, there's been the very big element on the team. For some, it's been a problem, but for others, it's actually been quite good. I have an assistant accountant up in the Philippines who's very, very good. And I was actually very concerned when we started. She was very isolated. All of that's gone. I had a graduate accountant who was meant to go back to India. She actually now can't. That's a whole other story, but the whole point was she could actually work with us for a while longer than I first thought because she could just do it from India. And so we have a payroll person starting next month in London who was meant to come back to Australia, clearly can't at the moment. So we've ended up with a team well spread across the planet, but we wouldn't have been able to function in the old model, and now it's actually even possible.